Good day, everyone. Today, we would like to talk about something that many of us have encountered, nor possibly may encounter in our academic journey, the challenges of writing a research paper. Research writing is not just a test of knowledge, it's a test of character. It demands time, effort, patience, and an unwavering commitment to push through even when the process gets tough. Allow us to share with you the story of a man, our author, who, despite holding two master's degrees, faced rejection 5 times in his dissertation proposal defense. He practiced relentlessly, sought help from trusted friends, and gave it his all, yet still faced disappointment. But instead of giving up, he chose to rise. He took every no as a lesson, refined his approach, and came back stronger each time. Writing proposals was not new to him, as he had recently presented and successfully passed his second master's degree thesis. Nearly a decade earlier, he had felt nervous presenting in front of an internationally published author, the research director at their autonomous university, and a well-known social scientist who served as their dissertation professor. He prepared himself thoroughly and sought the help of his trusted friends in crafting and presenting his 5 dissertation proposals. At that time, he was at the peak of his self-esteem and was expecting to receive positive stroke after his presentations. He practiced his presentation in front of a mirror to eliminate distracting mannerisms and to increase his chances of receiving positive feedback. He worked on controlling impulsive reactions and overcoming the fear of the unknown, which often led to unnecessary movements. He also focused on choosing appropriate language and improving his pronunciation to reduce, if not eliminate, tension during his delivery.
Inside the classroom, we called us one by one to present, read, and explain our proposals. During my turn, I did all my best to present the proposal to amaze him. Unfortunately, all 5 proposals were turned down. I felt disappointed, disgusted, and distressed. Just like Doc Mario's experience, there are times when we, as a research students, may encounter feelings of disappointment, disgust, frustration, and discouragement. These emotions are not uncommon and they can slow down our progress, shake our confidence, and make us question our capabilities. Facing rejection, especially after putting in so much effort, can feel like a personal failure. But in reality, it is a part of the process of growth and learning. Overcoming these negative emotions requires self-awareness, resilience, and a willingness to accept and learn from feedback. We must learn to view rejection not as a final judgment, but as a stepping stone toward improvement. It's a sign that we are being challenged to think more deeply, refine our work, and develop stronger ideas. We can revise our proposals with clearer objectives, deeper research, and stronger justification. We can seek guidance from mentors and peers, review examples of well-developed proposals, and ask questions when we feel unsure. Each revision is not a setback but step forward. Most importantly, we must remind ourselves that growth does not happen in comfort. It happens through challenge. Every obstacle is an opportunity to become more focused, determined, and skilled. With each failure, we gain experience. With each critic, we gain insight. Moving forward, we will face the research process with greater patience, persistence, and belief in our ability to improve. Research is not just about results, it's about the journey, the process, and the mindset we build along the way. We are still at the beginning, but we are learning, and we will get better. Let us not be defined by our setbacks, but by how we rise from them. Great things are never achieved by giving up, they are achieved by those who keep going one step at a time. After a week, I composed myself, regained confidence, and reviewed again my proposals. I don't want to lose hope in pursuing it. I prepared another 3 proposals including my pet thesis titles from the rejected one. I reviewed it again in a new package better than before. During our class session, we turned it down. He justified that it was so vague, not workable, no bearing, not related, and not acceptable. However, just like Doc Mario, we realize that research is not only about presenting the right topic, it's also about building the right mindset. Rejection is not the end of the road, but rather a redirection. Each time we are told no, we are not being shut down. We are being challenged to go deeper, think harder, and grow stronger. It may hurt in the moment, but that discomfort pushes us to evolve as thinkers, problem solvers, and students of life. To overcome these emotions, disappointment, frustration, discouragement, we need to stay resilient, self-aware, and open to feedback. These are not just academic skills, they are life skills. We must learn to take criticism not as a sign of failure, but as form of guidance that point us in the right direction. We can seek help from our mentors, discuss our ideas with peers, and explore existing research to gain new insights. We can take the time to refine our work, improve its relevance, clarity, and purpose, and become more thoughtful in our approach. Most importantly, we must never lose hope. Hope is what gives us the strength to get up after we fall. Without it, the journey ends before it even begins. But with hope, we find the courage to keep trying, no matter how many rejections we face. Every accomplished researcher has been where we are, confused, criticized, and challenged. What sets them apart is their decision to keep going. This experience taught us that real learning doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens through struggle, effort, and failure, just like Doc Mario experiences. Research is not a straight path. It is a winding road of trials, revisions, setbacks, and breakthroughs. We may still be at the beginning of this journey, but as long as we keep learning, keep improving, and keep believing, we will get better. In research and in life, hope is our driving force. It lights the way when things feel dark. It reminds us that every setback is temporary and that every effort counts. As long as we hold on to hope, there will always be a path forward, no matter how difficult the journey seems. So let us keep moving, keep growing, keep believing. Because success doesn't belong to those who never fall. It belongs to those who never quit.
I was embarrassed in the circle of my comrades and classmates looking at me like I was under par. I felt humiliated because their studies were accepted without negative comments. I was fully devastated and disappointed. But I insisted and persisted to work in my chosen thesis entitled Eco Waste Management Program of Higher Education Institution Advocacy and Continuing Quest. I really want to write about that study because I have seen many squanders and forming garbage file inside the higher institution. I explained to him with courage that in the future, this scenario may be one of the problems of educational system. Finally, he allowed me to pursue it, although I noticed that he did not want that study and he was not fully convinced on it. And in my part, I want to discuss some difficulties or complicated problems encountered from researchers. So we students go through a lot when we are doing research, especially when you do not have confidence in ourselves that we can make it and we can do it. And we will also meet different individuals in the process of creating research. So number one problem encountered is the feeling of embarrass. So it is a feeling or showing a state of self-conscious confusions and distress. So when we are in the process of doing research, there are many hesitations we think. So like the feeling of ashamed or shy, if we can do this research and also can affect what we feel towards other people on how they look on you. So, we keep on overthinking what will other people think about us. So I remember back in college, I feel shy because my classmates were very good when it comes to doing research. So I feel and felt shy of thinking if I get through this. But my supportive siblings and parents always cheer me up and make me feel that no matter what happened, they still proud of me and believe that I can make it. And now that I graduated college, I am now a research teachers in senior high school. So that is the transition. So number two, feeling is the feeling of humiliated. So when we are doing research, there are cases we feel or we felt humiliated because the studies of your classmates were accepted except yours. So in this case, you need to believe in yourself and not rely your success based on how you feel towards your classmates. So you need to set your goal and never feel ashamed and foolish by enduring your dignity and self-respect, especially in public. So in this situation, I always think that no matter what you do, people will always have something to say about you. So all you have to do is to pick up yourself and think that this shall pass and everything shall pass, and just keep on showing or just keep on showing up and do what you need to do. And the last one is the feeling of devastated and disappointed. So this is the feeling of being let down, dissatisfied, or not meeting expectation. So in this case, we need to believe in ourselves that we can do this research, but we should not expect too much. Because the higher the expectation, the greater the disappointment. Ika nga. So it is about the larger the gap between our hopes and what happens, the greater the disappointment. So we should always understand our expectations. We do our best but never expect too much. Always remember that we should remember that managing expectation is the key to happiness and success. Thank you so much.
As Mr. Mario approached the defense room, he was filled with mixed emotions. The journey had not been easy. He struggled with how to begin his writing due to countless distractions, and he received little to no positive affirmation from his mentors. But instead of giving up, he made a powerful decision to keep going. He challenged himself to rise above the circumstances and committed to finishing his paper. Mr. Mario's story reminds us that the true success isn't just about talent or support. It's about resilience, courage, and believing in yourself when no one else does. His determination proves that even in the face of doubt and difficulty, we can still move forward and achieve what we set out to do. He encountered many hardships along the way. When he consulted several faculty members, most advised him to change his topic after learning about his encounter with the research director. He felt discouraged, depressed, and began to doubt himself. It seemed like the whole university was against him. But even when his motivation was fading, he didn't give up. He stood his ground, chose to believe in his work, and pushed forward to finish his paper. His story is a powerful reminder that determination can carry us through even when support is lacking and the odds feel overwhelmingly difficult. As Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done."
This passage tells us that the researcher relates to Pandora's sense of curiosity, showing how curiosity drove him to explore unknown and risky areas in his study, despite knowing it could lead to challenges. Like Pandora opening the box, the researcher faced unexpected problems and emotional struggles, but accepted the consequences with courage. He took full responsibility for the risk and result of his research. For us future researchers, it reminds us that curiosity is essential but brings risk. Challenges are inevitable and resilience is required. Accountability is vital, especially when research affects real world outcomes. For us future researchers we need to face our work with courage, honesty, and to be prepared for both difficulties and achievements.
Let us proceed to the problems that Dokmar encountered in writing thesis. He is not an expert in thesis writing, even though he has already completed his first thesis. He has a fear of receiving feedback. Phobias in writing are real, particularly if you are from the province and your English language is not very good. He is afraid to the unknown. However, he tried to enumerate all of these and try his best to overcome them, and he succeeded. The first one is language barrier. Language barrier can affect various aspects of research, including data collections, analysis, and interpretation, impacting the accuracy and validity of research findings. For example, in surveys or interviews, participants may not understand the questions or instructions, leading to inaccurate or incomplete data. The next one is the cultural shock. Cultural shock can lead to social isolation, making it difficult for researchers to build rapport with participants and collect meaningful data. It also reduces research productivity, distorted results, and ethical concerns. Next is superiority of the panel. Superiority of the panel can have a significant impact on the student's thesis defense experience. While a panel of experts can provide valuable feedback, it can also lead to anxiety and fear if the student feels intimidated or overwhelmed by their perceived knowledge. This fear can hinder the student's ability to effectively communicate their research and defend their work. Next one is inferiority complex. Inferiority complex, defined as persistent feelings of inadequacy and worthlessness, can significantly impact an individual's life, including their academic performance, social interactions, and overall well-being. In a thesis, exploring the effects of an inferiority complex could involve examining its impact on self-esteem, motivation, social engagement, and mental health. And the last one is phobias and panic attacks. Phobias and panic attacks can significantly impact the process of writing a research thesis.
The second encountered problem was no one in the faculty was willing to serve as his thesis advisor because the study did not align with his major. The same professor who rejected his proposal later became his thesis critic and eventually transferred him to the care of another faculty member. However, the experience had already instilled a deep sense of fear and emotional distress in him.
Encountered problem number 3. There was limited related literature and studies as references in the library because only a few were interested to the topic. Seldom wanted to write also on this endeavor. In that situation, I decided to quit or intuitively change the study. This limit disposition weakened my desire to write. This paragraph tells the emotional impact of limited available literature on the researcher's ability to pursue his study. With few references available and minimal prior work to build on, the researcher felt unsupported and eventually lost his motivation, leading to decision to quit or change the study. Overall, it illustrates the common challenges faced in academic research, how limited background literature can hinder the progress, and the researcher's persistence.
Many responded did not want to reveal the status of their solid waste management status. It was strictly confidential. I did not know where to begin. I have rejected feelings every time I met my classmates and other researchers. Seemingly, I heard some negative comments that my study was less value comparing to their topic. It was stubborn and hard-headed. This passage describes the challenges faced by a researcher during their study on solid waste management. Key difficulties includes responded reluctance. Many participants were hesitant to disclose information about their solid waste management practices even though confidentially was assured. Researchers self-doubt. The researcher experienced uncertainty about their research direction and felt discouraged by negative feedback from classmates and other researchers who perceived their study as well valuable. Persistence despite challenges. Despite these obstacles, the researcher demonstrated determination and perseverance. The passage highlights the emotion and social aspects of conducting research, illustrating that it's not always stand forward and can involve overcoming significant hurdles.
The message of the author reflects a deeply emotional and personal journey of a student struggling through the challenges of academic research and emotional disconnection. So here's a detailed explanation of the message conveyed on the writer's writing. So the first one is emotional isolation and loss of belonging. The passage begins with the powerful admission, "I feel alone," which immediately sets a tone of isolation and emotional vulnerability. The writer expresses a sense of disconnection, not just from strangers but from their trusted circle of friends, indicating that the loneliness is profound and cuts deep. Feeling like they were in another dimension shows how out of place and misunderstood they felt, as if they were emotionally detached from the world around them. The mention of not having secured emotions suggests an unstoppable emotional state where the writer lacked comfort, reassurance, and support. So the next one is about academic pressure and dedication. Despite the emotional turmoil, the writer didn't give up. Instead, they channeled their remaining strength and energy into completing a very demanding academic task, writing the first three chapters of a research study and preparing the questionnaire. This shows remarkable dedication and resilience. However, even in this effort, the writer faced more challenges, having to constantly revise and change their work at the guidance of a mentor. The phrase, "my mentor always did the editing and reminded me to change my study," indicates how the writer struggled with approval and acceptance, constantly having their work criticized and corrected. So the next one would be about repetition, corrections, and discouragements. So the student reveals that they presented their study more than 7 times, suggesting a grueling process filled with repeated attempts to meet expectations. Each time they encountered corrections marked in red, typically associated with errors or disapproval. The underlined terms revision, suggestions, comments emphasizes how the writer's work was under constantly scrutiny. It wasn't just minor feedback, but extensive technical and structural critics. So the next point was all about the pre-oral examination and total overhaul. So during the pre-oral defense, the student was met with a barrage of unexpected questions from the panel, who then recommended major changes such as the statement of the problems, the hypotheses, and other core components of the research. The phrase total revamp reveals how overwhelming and disheartening this feedback was, as it meant that much of the previous work needed to be restructured or redone entirely. This suggests that all their hard work and sleepless nights might not have been enough, reinforcing feelings of exhaustion, frustration, and helplessness. So the overall message of this part of the message was, it is not just about academic struggle, it's about the emotional weight that comes with rejected, repetition, pressure to succeed, and the feeling of being alone in the process. It reflects the mental and emotional burden students often carry when striving to meet high academic standards, especially with support system feel distant or unavailable. At the same time, it subtly shows resilience since despite these challenges, the student kept moving forward. This message is a reminder that academic success often comes with hidden emotional battles, and it's important for mentors, peers, and institutions to provide not just intellectual guidance but emotional support and understanding as well for their learners. On the next paragraph, the message is very powerful and emotional reflection of a student's personal and academic struggle during the research journey, particularly through the thesis or capstone writing process. The narrative shares not only the academic difficulties faced but also the emotional toll that such a demanding process can take on a person. At the beginning of the study, the student expresses feelings of frustration and confusion. They mention that despite their study being a simple descriptive design, it was met with unexpected and extensive requirements, such as being suggested to conduct a documentary interview, which is far more complex than what their study designs originally called for. This unexpected suggestion caused the students to feel overwhelmed and even depressed, as it seemed to require a complete overhaul, a 360-degree turnaround of their work. This shows how institutional expectations and unclear guidance can create anxiety and emotional distress for students. The heart of the message is the students' resilience. The underlined part highlights the intense struggling, facing all odds, difficulties, struggles, and sleepless nights of constant editing and correcting the manuscript plus massive documentary interview. This line captures the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion many students endure just to meet academic standards. It emphasizes the idea that behind every submitted manuscript is a person who sacrificed a great deal, often silently and thankfully. When the student says, "I finished the race," it symbolizes triumph. Despite everything, they pushed through the process, completed all the revisions, followed the ethics review committee suggestions, and reached their scheduled final defense. However, the pain didn't end there. The student chose to withhold the final manuscript because they feared more revisions would be demanded, even at the final stage. This reveals a deep distrust and exhaustion, a sense that no matter how hard they tried, it would never be enough. Overall, the message in the image is a raw and honest testimony about the reality of academic pressure. It shows how rigorous academic requirements, unclear expectations, and constant revision can drain students mentally and emotionally. But it also reflects the determination, grit, perseverance required to complete the journey, often without proper recognition or support. It's a call for empathy, understanding, and reform in how academic institutions handle students' research, and a reminder that behind every paper is a human story of struggle and strength.
Breakthroughs. After a long writing journey and persistent obeying, the thesis advisor, statistician, and panel suggestion, rewriting, editing, and proofreading took place. The most awaited time has scheduled, and the study was presented for final oral defense and passed in the panel. The name of the game is patience. Despite of many odd revisions, repetitious editing of my research, I was finally done and finished the race. Just after my paper was presented to the university, I was invited and hired to handle diverse positions. So the author went through the typical struggles of writing a thesis or research paper, taking feedback, reworking drafts, and refining details. The key message is the importance of patience and persistence in overcoming repeated revisions and challenges. The reward for the hard work was not only passing the final oral defense, but also gaining recognitions and employment opportunities afterward. Resource speaker and lecturer providing updates in provincial scenario of RA 9003 and 8749, board member of Cruzada sa Kalikasan Incorporated, recognized as the best paper presenter in 2nd SPUP International Research Conference 2016 in St. Paul University, Tuguegarao City, Philippines. International Best Paper presented in Barsi Hotel, La Consolacion University, Malolos, Bulacan, Philippines. 2012 recipient and recognized Best Paper Presenter in the same conference. Being a research speaker and lecturer means they are actively involved in educating others about environmental laws. Their membership on the board of an environmental organization shows leadership in advocacy. Their awards for Best Paper Presenter at both local and international research conferences indicates academic excellence and recognition from the research community. Co-chairman of Solid Waste Management Task Force for Research in the area of reducing, reusing, recycling, and composting, advisor and organizer of Save Me, means Student Action for Vital Education of Mother Earth, recognized Best Paper Presenter in 2nd International Research Conference in St. Paul University, Tuguegarao City, Philippines. January 14 to 16, 2016, with the theme towards an integrated Asian community. Leadership and academic achievement in environmental advocacy. As a co-chairman, the person helped guided and oversee research efforts in improving waste management practices using sustainable methods such as reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost. Through SAME, they mentored students and promoted environmental education and actions. Their research contributions were recognized on an international level, earning the Best Paper Presenter Award at a respected academic conference with a regional Asian integration team.
Yes, sir, ready to help. Abstract. An abstract is a short summary of your completed research. It is intended to describe your work without going into great detail. Abstracts should be self-contained and concise, explaining your work as briefly and clearly as possible. An abstract is a concise summary of your research report that provides a brief overview of your study's key points. It is usually the first section of your report, and it is critical to ensure that it is well written and informative. Number 1. Purpose. The purpose of an abstract is to convey the main message of your research report to your readers in a clear and concise manner. It should be brief and to the point, highlighting the most essential aspects of your study. Your abstract should answer the question of why your study is important and what it aims to achieve. Number 2. The background section of your abstract should provide the context for your research. It should explain the problem or issue you are addressing and why it is essential to do so. Number 3. The methods section of your abstract should describe the research design, data collection, and analysis techniques used in your study. Number 4. The results section of your abstract should summarize the main findings of your study. Simply because I availed this wonderful book. Unlocking the Pandora's Box in Research, an easy guide in writing basic research. Written by the outstanding social science professor Dr. Mario C. Esteban. Yes sir, I can do that. Here's one good example. Eco, Waste Management Program of Cabanat 1, a continuing quest and advocacy as contributed by HEI stakeholders in the city. By Dr. Mario C. Esteban.
This study aimed to determine the best practices implemented by the administrations of the selected higher education institutions and soon to be highly urbanized city of Cabanatuan concerning their compliance of Republic Act 9003-8749, otherwise known as Ecological Solid Waste Management and the Philippine Clean Air Act. The simultaneous effort of ecological advocacy relied on some ethnographic findings, showcasing the existing programs, particularly in constructing material recovery facilities, and the challenges of 3RC, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle waste from its source with composting. The researcher utilized some statistical formula in determining the degree of effectiveness, seriousness, and level of benefits from the collected, then segregated waste materials. The respondents are 364 comprising of faculty, administrators, staff, and environmentalists from the HEI. Identified some problems, and suggest solutions towards the compliance to the law. There was a significant relationship in some socio-demographic profile and management style of the respondents. Another aspect of data revealed that there is a significant difference in some variables in understanding of 3Rs and composting.
Thank you everyone for listening, and once again, we are Team Mres Bulacan. Christian S. Regalado, President, Mres Bulacan. Gary M. Geronimo, Secretary, Mres Bulacan. Sir Jonel G. Cruz. Sir Jefferson B. Torres. Ma'am Ana Marie C. Mangulapnan. Ma'am Hana Patricia Correa, Ma'am Laika Rose Adeba, Ma'am Mary Joy N. De Castro, Ma'am Christine Joy T. Saplala, Ma'am Daynalyn V. Tabora, Ma'am Nedalyn M. Villasar, Ma'am Jessame R. Malyari, Dr. Mario C. Esteban, Mres Professor.